Welcome back to This is VANCOLOUR. My name is Amir. Our final guest tonight is a VANCOLOUR fan favorite. She is my counterpart on the Soapbox Social panel, which you can find on CBC Radio's On the Coast with Gloria Makarenko, one of BC's most high-profile criminal defense lawyers representing Acumen Law. She is Kyla Lee. Kyla, always a pleasure to see you.
Always lovely to see you too.
So this whole show, we've been talking about how people find themselves in situations where they do terrible things that they otherwise wouldn't have done. And in our last segment with Sarah Berman, we talked about this idea of entrapment and how the police can induce you into doing something. So explain to me like I'm 5, what is entrapment?
At its core, entrapment is the state compelling a person to commit a crime that they otherwise would not have committed. And it can be done in 2 ways, either by randomly testing people's virtues or by singling people out and sort of goading them into criminal activity.
So the police cannot test my virtue randomly.
No. No, they have to have a basis to believe that criminal activity is associated to a particular person or associated to a particular place where they're conducting the investigation on people who enter into that place.
So what are the telltale signs? How do we know that something is entrapment as opposed to just like a criminal investigation or undercover cops?
The telltale signs of entrapment are a lack of foundation to believe that criminal activity is occurring. So if the police were to just randomly pick you out of a crowd and be like, hey man, do you know where I can buy some drugs? That's random virtue testing.
Interesting.
There have been cases where police randomly dial phone numbers to see if the people who answer will sell them drugs.
What?
Yes,
That's entrapment?
That's
Okay.
entrapment. Or even situations like we saw recently in BC where police set up fake construction sites to do cell phone enforcement and gave out tickets for people using their phones in fake construction sites.
Oh, wow. Okay. So one of the questions that also came up is, can you be entrapped by police, but also be personally responsible and held criminally responsible for your wrongdoing? Or is it that if you are entrapped by police, you're off the hook?
So it is possible to be found criminally responsible even though entrapment took place. And there's 2 reasons for that. The first is that if the remedy for entrapment is done under the Charter, if your violation of your right to life, liberty, and security of the person occurred by police conduct, evidence could theoretically still be admissible in court. If the court finds that it was an abuse of process, they might order a mistrial. But again, a mistrial just means you have another trial, or a mistrial isn't always ordered. If there are remedies that are short of a mistrial, the court can order something lesser. It's probably never likely to happen because entrapment strikes at the core of our trust in the justice system.
Right. And in the case of Amanda Carodi and John Nuttall, a jury found them guilty, but it was the judge that said that, no, this is entrapment. So is it something that's easy for juries to pick up on?
Well, juries don't decide whether something is entrapment. Because
Okay.
entrapment is a legal question, that has to be decided by a judge. And it's done in the context of that application to a judge to say there was an abusive process, my rights under Section 7 of the Charter were violated.
Can I be entrapped for a speeding ticket?
Probably not.
I can't get out of those.
I can imagine a situation where perhaps a police officer gets in the car and pressures you into putting your foot down on the gas without any reason to think that you're a chronic speeder. But like speed traps, people often refer to those as entrapment. They are not entrapment. Red light cameras, speeding cameras, not entrapment.
Kyla, I appreciate this clarification. You are my favorite lawyer, one of the few lawyers I actually know.
Yeah, well.
But I appreciate your expertise on this, and we're going to have you back on the show to explain other legal issues throughout this season, I hope.
I hope so too.
Thanks so much. Folks, representing Acumen Law, that was one of the best dang criminal defense lawyers in the province. She is Kyla Lee. And that's our show. I hope you learned something. I always learn something from my friend Kyla. Thank you also to investigative journalist and producer of CBC's Pressure Cooker, Sarah Berman, and the Canadian media icon himself, Rick Campanelli, for tonight's Stacked show. We will be back next week right here on Check, Thursday at 9 p.m. For more, find This is VANCOLOUR on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, and the Check Plus app. But for now, this is VANCOLOUR, and I'm Amir telling you that in a province where you can be anything, be colorful. Peace.